Line. We had a great show. There's always some great information and sports talk in Pittsburgh. You're going to hear some of the best insights here. We have a special guest. I'll let Smokin' Jim introduce her when we get there, but there's a lot of great things. Hey, thanks for watching our show. We've been getting a lot of great feedback. This is our next to last show of 2012. Next Tuesday will be our last show of the year because Christmas and New Year's fall on a Tuesday. So I know you guys are going to miss us. We're going to take a little hiatus. Smokin' Jim and I are going to the Cayman Islands. So we'll have a nice vacation down there if you need to know. But we're going to go to What's on Our Mind. And for you guys and girls that don't watch the show, that's the first segment that we do. And we started a new one that we're going to revisit What's on Our Minds, just because some of us like to stir up a little controversy here. And I don't really have any infomercials here for you today, folks, so we'll just go right to What's on Your Mind, India.
The Steeler game that was on Sunday, actually.
Well, what do you think about it? We'll give you like a minute or so, and you can just talk. First of all, if you have anybody you want to say hi to that might be watching the show or knows you, I'll give you at least 20 seconds to do that.
I want to say hi to my brother Bobby. He's a huge Steeler fan, knows a whole bunch about sports, and my sister Sharonda and my mom. So,
a little shout out.
Wow. How photogenic.
And my husband Josh as well.
How photogenic is India?
Well, don't you have 3 children too?
Yes, I actually
do.
You
want to mention their names?
Sure. I'd also like to give a shout out to my 3 children, Jocelyn, Robert, and Diamond.
Well, there you go. And kids, don't go to bed yet.
No.
8 o'clock, and I know they're young, so.
My kids their bedtime's not till like 10.
Okay, you're very smart. Now, what do you think about the Steelers here?
The Steeler game was actually very interesting. I didn't know that we were going to win it. I thought we were going to somewhat lose it, but then the last kick, it changed it.
You're off by a week, I think.
Yeah, I am, but it's okay.
Okay.
No, you're right. You're right. We lost on Sunday.
That's okay. I had to bring you back. I know you traveled. I heard your chauffeur was Smokin' Jim Frazier, so you're excused if you don't know anything about sports anymore, because he can cover Steelers all day long.
I don't know much about sports. I know just enough, though.
Well, we'll invite you on some of the other conversations.
My son loves the Steelers, though. He does.
Okay.
He loves it.
Did he understand what was going on with that disaster this past Sunday?
Yeah, he was yelling at the TV, "What the heck's wrong with you, you freaking idiot?" So he was pretty upset.
Wasn't the only one.
All right, well that's our insights.
Is your son named Mike?
That's a good question, Jim. Well, India, thanks for your insights with your son. Appreciate that. And now we'll go with Smokin' Jim Frazier. What's on your mind?
Thanks.
Oh, never mind. What's on your mind about sports?
Oh, okay. I was thinking about India. Very photogenic, very beautiful girl, actress, model. Look for a book to be coming out pretty soon. Thanks to Al Levine, the talking machine. He has somebody to assist me on India's great book. It'll be a New York bestseller. But what's on my mind is actually, number one, is anybody in the Pittsburgh area. There's a gym in Pittsburgh in Duquesne near Kennywood, West Mifflin, named Fitness 19. Personal trainer there, Derek Youngblood, excellent personal trainer. Anybody that goes to that gym, mention Smokin' Jim to Derek Youngblood, you'll get a VIP free 1-week all access membership just by mentioning Smokin' Jim to Derek Youngblood. Derek Youngblood's actually a kickboxer. He's a boxer as well, personal trainer, does some great work for all ages. There's a baby Hercules that works at that gym that works out there named Devontae, only in 5th grade, already putting up 250 pounds on a leg press machine.
Wow.
Yeah, Derek Youngblood, he does some great things.
Is Gateway already recruiting him?
Gateway is already recruiting 5th grade. Gateway
is he in the community right now?
It's a bidding war between Gateway and his present school district, Woodland Hills. But I got a feeling he'll be moving into that district by the time he's in 9th grade. But look up Derek Youngblood, and go see baby Hercules, Devontae, as well. But what's actually on my mind is, there's outstanding young quarterbacks in the National Football League this year. And I tell you what, the Rookie of the Year is going to be hard pressed. I think that most people are not talking about Russell Wilson. Everybody knows I'm an NFL scout. Everybody laughed at me when I had Russell Wilson as my number 1 rated quarterback coming into this draft. Well, nobody's laughing now. His statistics is already outweighing Andrew Luck's. He has over 20 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. Andrew Luck is leading the league in turnovers, although Andrew Luck is doing well. RG3 will probably win Rookie of the Year. However, if he's out right now with a sprained knee, if he can't play the rest of the year, I think the MVP, Rookie of the Year, should go to Russell Wilson. And in my humble opinion, they should change the name of the Rookie of the Year trophy to the Big Ben Roethlisberger Rookie of the Year trophy. Ben set a record that'll never be broken, 13-0 as a rookie. No rookie quarterback will ever duplicate that. And I tell you what, Big Ben Roethlisberger, they should rename the trophy the Big Ben Roethlisberger Rookie of the Year trophy. You heard it here.
Smoking.
And if I'm Big Ben, every time a rookie gets a loss, I'd be like the Miami Dolphins and start popping bottles.
Hey, folks, that's why we like smoking Jim Frazier and his insights. In India, we'll get to you in our segment when we revisit what's on your mind.
Oh, no, okay? I have something to say about Russell Wilson.
We'll get to that. That'll be right after we give our little talk.
In about 2 minutes, we'll get right back to India.
Hold it.
Don't change your station.
Hold it. In 13 minutes and 23 seconds. Oh, and that brings us to Chip, the Prophet Hayner. What's on your mind, Chip? Try to keep it under 14 minutes today.
Keep it under 14 minutes.
I'm just kidding.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet today.
No.
Today finally we're supposed to have some closure on the bonus gate scandal in the NFL, and finally Paul Tagliabue, who was the person that heard the final appeal on this matter, determined that none of the players warranted being suspended, even though 3 of the 4 players were engaged in activities that were detrimental to the league. So punishment can still be meted out by Roger Goodell, but not in the form of suspensions, but in monetary fines. This has been a complete disaster from the time this whole thing came out last year. Yeah. And it's been a big black eye to the NFL. It's been a huge embarrassment to the New Orleans Saints. And it's been nothing but a major distraction. And, I think Roger Goodell just needs to, at this point, go ahead and admit that, you know what, maybe I handled this wrong. Let's let this be over and done with. But I just somehow have this feeling that Roger Goodell is going to find it in himself to go ahead and fine these players, even though, all the punishments have been short, because Roger Goodell is a vindictive person, and I think he has a little bit of a problem admitting that he's wrong. The best thing to happen for this thing right now is to just let it die and be over with. The Saints have been punished, their coaches have been suspended, and everything else. Jonathan Vilma is still not going to throw away his defamation of character lawsuit against Roger Goodell, even though it was determined that he was involved in activities that were detrimental to the league. But he wants to, clear his good name. Well, good luck. You'd be better off spending the money that you're spending on that attorney, putting it into some kind of stock investment or like that, and working on, building some money for your future. You're going to spend all this money for what? To get your good name clear, and then it's going to come out that maybe you weren't as clean as you thought. But my wish is this subject dies, and this is the last time I have to talk about it, because that's all I'm going to say about it. That's what's on my mind, Alan.
Thanks, Chip. I appreciate your insights, but I will tell you this. It's going to be like the Roger Clemens trial. And I hate to do that for you, but it's a couple weeks before Christmas.
Yep.
So you're not going to get your wish there, my son.
Yeah,
We'll try the next time. And I got to go, as Al Levine, the talking machine, I got to get a couple words in here. And what's on my mind is Steelers. I predicted 11-5, and it looked great last week. But this team, because of injuries, because of playing that roller coaster, they get on it, and it looks like they didn't even show up for the game. I mean, how did San Diego have a game plan where they could run and pass the ball for 10 minutes? The defense was on the field like crazy, couldn't get off the field. The offense was doing 3 and out. It was like, what players do we have here? And then Willie Colon, after he had a penalty, he had to check out. He was done blocking and tackling. I keep telling you guys, he helped me coin my latest phrase. So he wasn't able to tackle anymore, so they took him out. Now he had to get surgery. So I do feel bad about that, but it does show that the Steelers have to change a little bit. They're paying him millions of dollars, and he can't finish a season. So normally somebody else would be gone. So I'm sure they're going to think about that. Except for one thing. Who's on the offensive line? Look what happened this week. They couldn't protect. They couldn't run the ball. Oh, well. That's enough of the Steelers. I'm sure we're going to revisit that in a couple minutes here with some comments and things. But that's what's on my mind. Now, India's been waiting patiently. She has something on her mind about
Russell Wilson.
Okay.
That is my cousin, actually.
Wow.
That's my aunt's husband's nephew.
No way.
Yes.
Cool.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're a big fan then?
I am.
And to speak to Jim's point, I think Russell Wilson has been playing some of the best football of the rookie quarterbacks this year. And I think ultimately what it's going to come down to, and the thing that's going to exclude RG3 from the equation, is which one of these quarterbacks is going to take his team into the playoffs. Andrew Luck seems like he's wrapped up a spot for the Indianapolis. Seattle's still in the hunt. I mean, what they did to the Arizona Cardinals that Sunday was, I tell you what, it was the worst football performance of the day, and I thought the Steelers, hands down, were the worst team of the 32 that played this past weekend. But Arizona, they basically quit. And then, what could the head coach say? I mean, poor Ken Whisenhunt. He was one of a favored son here in Pittsburgh and everything like that. I think he may be shown the door here real soon. Now, he's, started off the season 4-0, and, Arizona looked like, okay, maybe this is a team that might have a little something. They've lost 9 games in a row, and the way they lost on Sunday was just unbelievable. I mean, Did you
even watch the game?
I did watch.
I couldn't watch the game.
Well, no, I did the red zone, So basically, I went from every time the Seahawks scored, which was every 25 seconds. I was like, holy jeez. But Seattle seems to be playing really, really good ball, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them win a wild card spot. Pretty much the 49ers are going to wrap up that division here in the next day, game or two.
But and I agree with everything that you said, Chip. One thing that upsets me, Al, is that these guys who get misevaluated, there should be something done. Russell Wilson's going to be stuck with a third-round draft choice paycheck for the next 4 or 5 years, and clearly, from the time he was at North Carolina State till he went to Stanford, he was as good as any quarterback in college football, and he's an athlete. He was a professional baseball player. But I think that the real race is for Coach of the Year. My pick for Coach of the Year, of course, is Bruce Arians of the Indianapolis Colts. And like I told you guys before, nothing against Chuck Pagano. My prayers go out to him and his family, but that was a poor choice. Indianapolis did not need a defensive coach. They need an offensive genius as a head coach, and they got it with Bruce Arians. I would buy out Chucky, and I would give Bruce Arians the head coaching job ASAP.
Well, as much as this pains me to say this, and the lack of love I have for the Harbaugh brothers is well documented, but Jim Harbaugh, the head coach in San Francisco, I think gets my vote today for Coach of the Year simply because he suspended Brandon Jacobs for the rest of the season. Brandon Jacobs was whining and complaining and moaning on Twitter about not getting a chance to play, and let me tell you something. Brandon Jacobs is a moron. All right, he couldn't crack the starting lineup in New York. He played second fiddle to Ahmad Bradshaw, so he goes and signs a free agent contract with a team that already has a franchise back in Frank Gore, who is the face of the franchise, okay? So walking into that situation, you're going to stand on the sidelines holding your helmet quite a bit. Why is this some kind of surprise to you? You couldn't break the starting lineup in New York. What do you think you're going to do? Go to San Francisco and beat out Frank Gore? Not going to happen. And I admire the coach for suspending him, say, you know what? We don't need you for the rest of the year. And I mean, more coaches would stand up to these guys. Maybe they would teach some of these players to keep their mouths shut and just play ball.
Here's a little, that's great, Chip. And here's something, Al, you guys will enjoy. Brandon Jacobs transferred from a Division I school after his junior year to a Division I AA school. And named the school and the players that he was playing behind when he was in college. Man, it's great.
That's why you're the expert, buddy. Come on.
He was so good, and every time he'd get on the field in college, which was only in blowouts, he'd run up and down the field. He could run a 4.340 in college at 260 pounds. But he was playing behind two tailbacks that shared the time with each other. They alternated, and they both went in the first round. Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown at Auburn. Auburn's coach, who likes to smack his players around Tuberville. Yeah. I believe he's at another school now in Cincinnati. Assistant coaches will be getting slapped around now. But Tommy Tuberville wanted to move him to defensive end because they wanted to find some playtime for him. So he transferred down to the Division I AA school, ran for 25 touchdowns his senior year, and ended up going in the first or second round. So, yeah, that's a little trivia question.
And here we got more fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
But to be honest,
check it out.
But to be honest with you, I think he was a bit of a bust as such a high draft pick. I mean, he was always had all this potential, and he never realized it.
Never ran hard.
And it was always somebody else's fault. And and then he was treated so unjustly. Well, I hope you choke on your millions.
I can't believe you're going for a Harbaugh, Chip. I don't believe you're going for a Harbaugh.
Hey,
I'm going to let that go since you explained it. But I got to bring up something with Smoking Jim. He's talking about the Rookie of the Year award going to Big Ben. Usually it's to somebody that's retired or somebody that's died or something like that. So I don't think you're wishing anything like that on Big Ben. I don't think you can name an award after a guy that's living and playing.
I don't know why not. Hey, let's break the tradition.
Wait a second.
They seem to forget about the old timers anyhow. So everything's the current player. So make it the current player. Ben's been around since 2004. That's a long time.
8 years. 8 years is a long time.
It's time to get that award, man.
Come on, I got socks older than that right now and more. Come on, I'm not as young as you young puppies here.
He's already went past Terry Bradshaw.
But getting back to that Steelers game on Sunday, the thing that I found so disturbing about this game on Sunday, and it seems to be I guess what they've been doing all year. I mean, we've got this Jekyll and Hyde football team, and you know how schizophrenic Steeler fans are. One week, they're gods. The next week, they're bums. I've heard everybody calling for Tomlin to get fired,
right.
And
this
all
week
this
now
stuff.
you're hearing.
But here's the question I put to you. When we're all been around sports all of our lives. Now clearly, the players weren't prepared to play that game on Sunday. They didn't show up. They didn't show up until the fourth quarter, okay? So, the first 45 minutes of the game, the coaches it's their job to prepare these guys to play. And, I always have been led to believe that you practice as you play. Mm-hmm. And if they put in that level of lack of concentration and effort during the week, now why weren't the coaches out there cracking the whips and getting people getting a fire lit underneath their butt? I kind of hold the coaches as responsible for this loss as I do the players, and I think everybody earned an F for their efforts on Sunday. Listening to the way Mike Wallace was getting booed in the first half, I mean, does anybody think that he didn't deserve it? I mean,
Well, we've seen this so much. Think about the frustration. We know they have talent. He's afraid of something like an injury. He's going to make millions of dollars. I know people don't believe it, but he will make millions of dollars. He's staying healthy. They're not going to put a franchise tag on him, so that may help. So he'll get his $5, $6, $7 million and leave. Or maybe nobody will bid on him after the Rooneys tell him, we'll keep him. He's got his head on straight. He's able to focus now. He'll do the right thing. But part of it, I agree with Chip. You have the coaches here. It's not like college where you have to motivate them. But you need a plan, and if they're not doing the plays and going by the plan and the script that you have, because I believe LeBeau didn't get stupid in one game.
No, he didn't.
So, to me, I don't see how you can fault him when players are 3 steps too slow. They're not able to tackle. How can you not tackle and all of a sudden you're doing that?
We're not talking about LeBeau. LeBeau's not the head coach. Listen, I've been saying all along that Coach Tomlin and Kevin Colbert's in this together. Number one, I said when Bill Cowher's players begin to retire, that's where your leadership is gone. These guys learned leadership under Bill Cowher. Mike Tomlin takes over, and Kevin Colbert takes over as the GM. Don't forget, Bill Cowher was the GM. Now this is the situation that you have. We have no young linebacking talent. The drafts have been poor. You look at the secondary. Not since Jeff Blake of the Cincinnati Bengals did I witness what Rivers did. Rivers seen weak links all in our secondary due to poor drafting. All he did was throw at Curtis Brown. All he did was we took a guy off the practice squad, number 35. Who is he? They put him in there. They turned him all around. It's easy football. I haven't seen that at Heinz Field until I went into the locker room before the Minnesota Viking game and told Brett Favre to throw at William Gay. You would think that there was 10 William Gays in our secondary. Then you have an offensive coordinator who's never been a coordinator before in his life until last year as a head coach when he took over the coordinating duties for Kansas City. 6 games into the season, they fired him. I wanted to fire him on the spot. On the 2-yard line, aggressive San Diego defense, you're going to throw a lateral bubble screen and expect any kind of different results. We couldn't block those guys all game. Then Coach Tomlin, don't go for 2 or you quitting on your team. You're quitting on your team. And this week, I can't wait for Dallas. Dallas got a good defensive line. Excellent defensive line. They don't always play well. Now you're putting in DeCastro at the starting right guard. You're moving Foster to starting left guard. And you got to walk on at right tackle. You got 2 rookies on your offensive line, and you expect to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I tell you what, Big Ben, he ought to get some more insurance. I got a number for you for Lloyd's of London.
And just to touch on something that you mentioned in there, Jim, did get to watch William Gay give up a few touchdowns on Sunday, watching the red zone. The color of the jersey changed, but the results didn't. No, but you know what Jim was saying. There was a lot of faults in the way Tomlin called that game, and and it did appear like he just got frustrated and he gave up on the game. But some of the players gave up on it too. And then there's guys talking about after the game. Well, I guess I was listening too much to what people were saying about me when I played against Baltimore, and they did not prepare for San Diego. I mean, they were not prepared. Phillip Rivers has had a horrible season. Well, he had a real good day on Sunday afternoon, and he made the Steelers' defense look pathetic. But
and that's Bill Cowher's guy, Phillip Rivers. We heard those insights before. It's all about Cowher tonight. We got the Cowher power, and he's not coming back as a coach anywhere because the legend lives on.
And then San Diego goes into that game with absolutely nothing to play for. The coach has been told that he's going to be fired. The general manager is going to be fired. They had 3/5 of their offensive line they found him in grocery stores bagging groceries. And they, what the Steelers get, they had 1 sack for 0 yards in the entire game. You know, there were 0 turnovers, and you know, that bubble screen in the end zone. Antonio Brown, I mean, should be taken to task for that. You know, the ball drops right at his feet. He doesn't even make a half-hearted attempt to pick it up. All he had to do is just scoot it over with his foot and get it out of, you know, and it's 2 points instead of 7, you know. I mean, they teach you that in midget football, and there's no reason why. You know, that was just lackadaisical play. Like, you know, I don't care.
Well, why are they always shocked when they don't hear a whistle? That's what bothers me. This happens each time with the Steelers. I know we were taught in high school, play to the whistle. So where's the whistle at? Then the other thing is, I got a little disagreement here with Smoking Jim. It wouldn't have been a lateral, but who would figure that the San Diego defensive lineman would push a guy 10 yards back before Ben throws the ball? All right? So, I mean, here you're trying to put blame on the end result. We can't help it. He got killed. I don't know why he didn't fall down. Most linemen fall down before that. Mike Adams would have fell down. Gilbert would have fell down. This kid kept backing up. That's what happened. And I actually measured. It was an inch of a forward pass. Because I stopped it right on there. And I don't know why they didn't do it. But in general, you're right 100%. But you can't figure that a guy's going to get tore up like that.
Well, I'll tell you something else that you learned in high school.
Okay.
Never fire the special team coach at the beginning of the season.
Good point.
Again, a fake punt. I mean, it was obvious. They didn't want to run it. They had to. The Steelers are giving it up. Why would you, like I said, time and time again, it's coming back on the coaching. Fire the special team coach. You had 365 days to fire a guy that you didn't like. All of a sudden, you want to fire him. And I tell you what, as a professional gambler, anybody that UTEP plays for the next 2 or 3 years until Kugler gets fired, I'm betting against UTEP. Most overrated coach that we ever had here.
No way. I can't believe you're opinionated like that.
I'm mad because all of his sons was All-Americans for North Allegheny. He should have left a couple years ago, man. Gateway would have a championship.
I knew there was some ulterior motive.
The one thing you never do is you fire your special teams coach before the season starts. And then the other thing that you don't generally do is after the 13th game of the season, fire your offensive coordinator. John Harbaugh in Baltimore found it necessary to fire his offensive coordinator because, Joe Flacco once again had a really bad afternoon and lost. A game that they were clearly supposed to have won, that they had taken control over, and Harbaugh and his offensive coordinator had gotten into it, and Harbaugh waves goodbye. Maybe there's bigger problems going on in Baltimore than meets the eye, and it'll be interesting to see what that does to Baltimore's chances.
Well, moving Isn't forward. Ray Lewis coming back? That'll change the whole thing.
Well,
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis don't play offense.
I know, but they scored on that defense.
So they got now Jim Caldwell, who was the guy that got fired for blowing up the Indianapolis Colts last year. But in all defense of Jim Caldwell, Peyton Manning was. He didn't have him at all last year, and he played well enough to get the first pick in the draft and save that franchise, and they said, thank you, goodbye. You can go to Baltimore now.
And it's funny because actually Coach Tomlin is very good friends with Jim Caldwell. All those guys come under the Tony Dungy coaching tree. And Coach Mike Tomlin actually wanted to hire Caldwell. He interviewed him for the offensive coordinator job. At the same time, Rooney was interviewing Haley without Coach Tomlin knowing. He said, I'm going to hire my nephew. So that's the way it went. So Caldwell gets promoted from and it was all because of Flacco. They said that Cam Cameron was just, he was really a tough coach on the quarterbacks, and you're supposed to be tough on your quarterbacks. So now you got Flacco's buddy. Caldwell will be his buddy, so let's see what happens.
And hold on, I got to interrupt you guys on a quarterback. We got a guest here, and I didn't get a chance to ask her about Russell Wilson. Have you ever met your cousin?
No. Actually,
I sort of thought that.
I haven't.
And why is that?
He just came back He was living in Wisconsin for a while.
Okay.
Playing football
Just
out
checking
there.
with you.
But we did call while he was in the middle of the draft.
Did you?
Yeah.
How did that go?
It was okay.
Was it fun?
It was fun.
Well, it's nice to have somebody in the family like that you can talk with a draft.
It was interesting.
Well, me and Indy is just going to have to fly out and spend a weekend in Seattle and meet Cuz.
I have to. I need to meet with Cousin.
Well, you have to give him a call. Do you have one speed
Sacrifices
dial?
are made.
No, I have my aunt on speed dial, though.
Okay, well, we'll have to get a report that from the next time when you go out there.
I will.
Well, maybe we'll make the playoffs and Smoking Jim will get free tickets to one of the playoff games. Because he's known to get tickets.
I've heard.
Yeah, my brother Scott, former great running back for Gateway and state champion. He's a CPA, and he's a manager of CPAs for Peterbilt in Dallas, Texas. And Peterbilt's main office is in Seattle. So he's out in Seattle a lot. So we'll
I thought you were going to get Dallas tickets to the game.
Whoa.
I'd like to go. Could you get...
My brother is such a Dallas Cowboy fan.
No.
He named his oldest son Dallas.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Is that one of your 22 nephews and godchildren?
And this Dallas is the one that was the #1 rated 8th grader in South Carolina, played in the Alamo Dome in the Army-Navy junior high game, and is being recruited. He got his choices already as a sophomore. He's narrowed his choices down to TCU and
Jamie
Auburn.
Dixon's school. Jamie Dixon at TCU. Yeah. I know you're going to stop that.
And Arizona, Arizona with my buddy Jeff Castile as a defensive coordinator. So we're moving him. We've already eliminated Pitt. We eliminated Pitt when the day he was born. We eliminated Pitt. So
can a young man named Dallas play at Pitt?
Woo!
I'm just wondering if he can do that.
Maybe.
What do you think, India?
Maybe anything's possible.
We just talked about that before the show.
Anything is possible.
But we have a better chance, being that he's a sophomore in high school and already all-state. We do have a chance his junior year. He may wind up in Monroeville at Gateway. Perhaps he gets a little. You know what? He's coming to spend time with me a week after. Right after Christmas, him and his dad's coming up.
Establish his residency.
Yeah. So he could be coming with an extra suitcase. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a Dallas Frazier star for Gateway next year. Let's see what happens with the coaching staff first.
Well, we'll have to see what the scout advises. I know it'll be more than just a personal.
Hey, I got to give us credit. I got to give a shout out to Gateway. I've been getting a lot of hits on Facebook. West Virginia University offered a scholarship, and the kid from Gateway accepted. He's only a junior. He didn't have big stats last year. His name is Ricky Rogers, who transferred from Keystone Oaks. He didn't have big stats as a junior, so everybody's getting on me. He did score 2 touchdowns, but he only had 2 catches all year for 137. Both of them went for touchdowns, and they were big touchdowns. So West Virginia seen that and offered him a full scholarship. All right, Ricky.
Hey,
we're looking for bigger and better things.
You covered my alma mater there at KO. We'll try to see if we can funnel some more players there.
Although the WPIL ruled him ineligible before the season, and I predicted to all y'all that the PIAA never rules against Gateway, but they did give him a slap on the hand. They says you can play football, but no basketball this year. That's your punishment for transfer.
Oh, my. He'll be a bigger guy now in the weight room. He'll have all that time to work out, get faster.
So thinking about a lot of football to talk about and everything, but we finally got some activity on the baseball front this weekend.
I saved it for you, Tim.
This weekend we got Pirates Fest going on down at the convention center. But, this Pirates went ahead and re-signed Jason Grilli, and he was being courted by 3 or 4 teams. And he decided to stay here in Pittsburgh. And, I think he will make a great addition to the staff. I think he was a great setup man for Joel Hanrahan. And I know there's lots of talk going on right now about, whether or not Hanrahan's going to be with the team come spring training or if he'll even be with the team next year. He's arbitration eligible this year, which means he's going to get a raise. in a fairly significant raise from what he was making before. And then he'll have the opportunity to be a free agent at the end of the season. And, right now, the Pirates, if they are entertaining him as trade bait, they need to get something of very high value for him. If they're going to consider getting rid of Joel Hanrahan, and my advice to them would be not to,
yes,
okay? They need to get an everyday ball player that's not somebody that's 5 years past their prime, somebody that's going to be a real asset, a right fielder, a first baseman, somebody that's going to get you 25 home runs. It's going to bat 280, 290, and can consistently do this. If they trade Joel Hanrahan and they try to pick up like 2 or 3 prospects, where the team is right now, more prospects in the farm system isn't going to do anything. What we need is people, the major league level, that can contribute to making this a winning franchise.
Yes,
and who knows what's going to happen? I know the Dodgers. They've got a huge payroll, but they just signed all the starting pitching. They signed Zach Greinke. They've got Clayton Kershaw. They picked up all these people from the Red Sox with Gonzalez and Hanley Ramirez from Miami. They're stacking that team to win right now, and the only thing that they don't have is a closer. But what would they be willing to give up? And who knows? Like I said, prospects is not what we need. We need major league caliber players, and they should get more than one of them if they're going to decide to trade Hanrahan.
I agree with you, Chip. Part of the thing, now we made 79 wins. We've come from 57 to 79. Yes, it was disappointing, but experts have said, not just myself and you, when you get to that point, 1 or 2 of these players can make the difference now because you have a core. Whether you like the core or not, you have it. Jason Grilli is not going to be the closer.
No.
I don't think he can handle it for $7 million for 2 years. It's not too bad.
No, and the thing is, you already know what you got with Hanrahan. Hanrahan already is an all-star caliber closer. Right. He is a guy that you can go out there and he's going to shut the door on people. Grilli was a great setup man, and can Grilli possibly become the closer? It's possible, but
I don't know how many
but he hasn't proven it, So I mean, why do you go into the season with an unproven commodity when you got somebody who can get you 45 or 50 saves? I just don't see getting rid of him as really the smartest thing they
Chip,
can do.
He has a great story for how he come back and he's still playing. But how many pitches does he have left? I have that theory like others do. You only have so many pitches. It could be over for him this summer.
But you know what? The guys that have that Tommy John surgery done, when they go in there and they redo everything and everything, those guys, their arms come back stronger than they ever were.
I'm worried about the rest of the body.
Well,
he's not a youngster. That's the problem.
He still throws in the high 90s, though, man. He does throw the pill. But there's a lot yet to be that's going to unfold in baseball, and they just finished the winter meetings, and there'll be movement, and quite a number of Pirates players are arbitration eligible this year. So there's a lot of guys that are going to get raises, which is going to bump up the even without signing any free agents, they're going to bump up their salary this year.
Look at
probably 20 to 24 million just off of the people that are going to arbitration. So I mean, it'll be interesting to see the moves that they're making, signing Russell Martin, signing Grilli. They make sense for what the needs of the team were. Now, is Russell Martin another Johnny Bench? No, but I tell you what, he was definitely an upgrade from Rod Barajas.
Right.
At least he threw out, a fair number of runners, and he hit 21 home runs, and he didn't play every day.
And he was above the Mendoza line, so I like him. If you hit above 200, folks, that's the Mendoza line, and we need that because we had guys that couldn't hit their weight, and they only weighed 180 pounds.
But,
so that's part of it. So I agree with Chip. You got to keep this foundation. They do have a plan. We got to forget about McClatchy because Nutting wasn't involved in all of the McClatchy years. But folks, we do have a 20-year history of losing. So that culture, until they break that, until they hit this 82.
And that's the thing. You've got a losing culture. Well, you know what? Everybody has a losing culture until they win. Okay?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the faults of what's happened over the last 20 years. You can point your fingers at any one of a number of people, but we're ending 2012. We're going into 2013. It's a new year. Okay, we got to have a new attitude, and we got to believe because.
Well, I hope we do. In India, do you follow baseball at all? I got to bring you into sports a little bit. This is a sports talk show, and then we'll talk about you for 2 minutes. so your family and friends can hear about what India's up to, okay? Just a yes or no is fine with me. Okay.
But for homework, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home, study baseball,
because you can't come
NFL.
back on the show unless you can talk about 3 sports.
Yes.
That's our new rule. So what are you doing in life here? Anything good out there that we can talk about and promote?
As you know, like Jim mentioned, the book, with your help and his.
And I do have a gentleman. I'm not going to mention his name because we got to see if we can work a deal out for you. And this guy is excellent. He's done PR for major companies. He's helped write a couple good books with people. And he's a very intelligent man. I know he can help you. I can't wait to hear the story.
It's going to be a crazy story. It's going to be a ride. But
hold it. Is it anything like the Rayco War Sanders story?
No.
Okay, and you know that story. I just had to ask because Rayco's a friend of the show here, and we always promote Rayco. The life he had to make himself into a champion. I respect that, and I read the book, Smoking Jim, just once. I'm tempted to read it again. It's collected a little dust, but I'm reading a couple other books right now, so I'll put that on the back burner. But go ahead, India.
Just the book. I'm going to start school sometime in January.
And where are you going to go to school?
Metal Career Academy.
And where's that located?
In Monroeville. It's located in Monroeville.
And I was just in downtown Monroeville today.
It's going to be in Monroeville. I'm going for medical assistance. I will be graduating with my associate's in specialized technology degree.
Well, congratulations, and good luck to you. And then I have a question. I heard rumors that like you're a model or something.
Yes.
And maybe even in films. So you might as well tell that, because you don't have to be modest here. Smoking Jim wouldn't bring you on here if you didn't look so great on the camera here. So to all your family and friends, you did a great job. And India, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, for the modeling, I started out with Bill Neal. And the photographer was Bob. Burke, Bob, whatever.
Just I can see they're close friends of yours. I know Bill, and I hope another guy who's a great photographer, Ken Ogilvy. I hope he took a few.
He never came through yet. He was supposed to, but
you know what? I have his phone number here. I'll make a call to Ken and see what they can do.
That sounds good. But and I haven't really talked to Bill in a long time. So I started associating with Jim. And I actually spoke to Mike Migliori last Tuesday, and we're going to be setting up a photo shoot and trying to do some trying to do movies and
maybe do a portfolio of pictures and
do a portfolio
of
like pictures because I love taking pictures. So.
That sounds good. We'll have to check with you after you learn 3 sports. After you get 3 sports.
We might even do a family calendar.
A family calendar?
Of me, the kids, and my husband, and to help, just send them out to my family and friends.
Well, it sounds like a good thing. It's a good start.
It is. It's a real good start.
And don't be surprised to see India doing some boxing commentating.
Oh, yes. I love to box.
And
I love to box.
Yeah, we might get in wrestling too.
Well, maybe we can get you some boxing gigs, and you can tell about the boxing report here.
I like that.
Come February, when the Golden Gloves and everything.
We may branch out to wrestling too.
No way. Women's wrestling?
Hey.
We're covering everything here now.
But
just so you don't say mud wrestling, this is a family type network here. Okay. So
I just have to say, men do wrestling and boxing. Women could do it just as well.
All right.
They can do it just as well.
Hey, there's more
Coming from a big family, I would know.
How many in your family?
24.
Wow. Can you say that again?
I'm 1 out of 24.
Wow. The youngest?
Middle.
Wow.
I have 16 brothers.
Well, here, I'm going to ask you, because one of my favorite movies, they asked Matt Damon the names of his brothers and sisters, and he didn't have any. So can you tell us?
For Marty, he didn't know the names of
That's okay. He didn't know their mothers either.
Can
you name any of them?
I don't know all of them by heart.
And I'm just kidding you. I'm just sarcastic, so you don't have to answer that. I'm just being a little bit silly because of a movie I saw, and we'll go on because
you mean like
great.
The 19 and Counting?
Yes.
Yeah, I was watching that today. I think that's crazy. How do you come up with 19 kids and they all start with the letter J? Like
Isn't that great?
No, that's creepy.
But I mean, for him to come up with that.
Yeah, for them to come up with that, that's very creative and artistic.
Jim and James.
That's too many J's.
Well, that kept it straight. He could do it front and backwards.
But the one thing, real quick, Chip, the one thing, don't forget on Monday, we got a great book signing from former Pittsburgh Steeler, Wes Lyons, 6'8". Great ball player. He wrote an excellent book. I'm in the process of breaking the first chapter.
In other words, folks, I'll translate that. He brought the book home, and it was sealed. He cut the seal, and he opened it up and said, "This looks like a good book."
So if anybody comes to level 20 on Monday at 7:30, between 7:30 and 8:30, we'll get him there about 7 o'clock. He may bring a surprise. He may bring Will Johnson, the fullback, his best friend from West Virginia. They played at West Virginia. So Will Johnson may come if he makes a block against Dallas. He don't make a block.
If he
If he don't block,
I'll do my favorite.
He don't block no better than he did on Sunday. But Will Johnson is really a steal for the Steelers. But Wes Lyons is great friends with Geno Smith. All those guys endorsed his book. And so he's coming in to spend some time with us.
Will he autograph any books there?
He'll autograph any book.
Why don't we promote that?
Yeah, we'll promote it. Go ahead, you're the promoter.
All right, here's what we'll do.
Don King.
There we go.
Let's get back onto the sports line like this, okay? I think we seem to have gotten a little sidetracked. There's some pretty big goings on in the world of college sports. The Big East may be a thing of the past. The non-football related schools, there's 7 Catholic universities, Georgetown, St. John's, quite a number of them that are in the Big East that had a secret meeting on Sunday, and they're considering seceding from the Big East. And what they've been in negotiations with is the A-10 basketball conference, and aligning themselves with them in the Atlantic 10 conference has 16 teams in it right now. And what they were thinking of doing is upgrading it to a 21-team league. And, and if you get all of these schools to leave the Big East, the only thing the Big East has going for it is that it's probably the strongest or one of the strongest basketball divisions in the NCAA. They get rid of their basketball strength. There's nothing left because there's no reason for anybody to want to watch the Big East football-wise. They've got teams all the way from San Diego to the East Coast, and none of them, are worth a hill of beans. But if this does happen, and they lose the strong teams like Seton Hall and Georgetown and St. John's and all that, and they scoot, the Big East is going to have nothing left in there, and they're going to completely collapse. That was a pretty interesting thing that came out today. Also, Jim was talking about boxing and. Big boxing match on Saturday night. Manny Pacquiao fought Marquez.
No, I heard
and he got knocked out in the 6th round. He ended up taking a little nap there on the mat for a little while. He didn't get up for quite a while, but
wasn't that their 3rd fight?
5th.
That was their 4th. I thought it was their 4th.
4th.
Yeah, the first one was a draw. Then Pacquiao won 2.
Okay, I missed the draw.
And then Marquez dropped him, and Manny Pacquiao now is damaged goods. He's lost his last 2 fights, and maybe now Roger Mayweather might say, hey, now that he's lost a couple and he's found the Lord, maybe I might be able to find him in the boxing ring. Doubt that will happen because Roger Mayweather's going to never do anything that's going to tarnish his unblemished record.
And the sad part with boxing is Pacquiao and the Mexicans already talking about doing a 5th fight.
Nah.
So, they could be a 5th fight. Their next fight. Get together and Pacquiao was winning. They both had 1 knockdown during the fight. Pacquiao had him against the ropes, and I tell you what, perfect counter punch.
Really?
Threw a counter punch with 1 second to go. And back in the day, you could get saved by the bell, but there wasn't no saving by the bell this time.
No, he was from what I saw in the photos. He went down and he was down.
Yeah.
It's just almost like when Sammy dropped his opponent. In the first round, man, he hit him and he crumpled, and that was it.
And Andreas, with his first fight, right-handed, knocked the guy right down.
So,
India, what'd you think of that with Pacquiao? Are you a Pacquiao fan?
No, actually, I'm not. I don't really watch UFC all like that, but me and my twin, we decided we were going to watch it. She doesn't live out here, but we were on the phone and watching it together.
Wow.
And it was her Facebook status. It was her Facebook status, too, so. But it was crazy.
You qualified with a third sport there, so that's
yeah.
You're back in the game, Chip.
So, one other thing that we have yet to talk about, and, we got the NHL lockout still going on. And you know what? It seems after the events of last week that the person that I kind of feel is the biggest person that he should lay blame on is Donald Fair. I mean, he came in, they had made tremendous progress with the owners and the players working together, and then he came in and he changed the agreement that they were coming in and switched everything around, and the owners were so mad that they all just they got up and left, and they said everything's off the table. Now tomorrow I understand that they're supposed to secretly get together and meet with an arbitrator.
Think about this. This is staged, so this is what I tell you. How could something be secret if we know that it's happening tomorrow? Now, here, some of what happened. I'm a conspiracy guy. You had Steve Fair, who's the son of the Fair that screwed it up. He was in the meetings, all right? And you had Daly, who's the right-hand guy of Bettman there. So once these two look at what they come out with, because look at what Burkle was saying. He said how there was good progress and everything else because he's a businessman, like we were saying. And they had Sid Crosby there. Now Sidney Crosby comes out and says he's going to Europe now. So this is all bargaining. If they're going to get a deal done, it's going to be this week before Christmas and do it. It doesn't look good, folks.
They're not going to get a deal done. They're not going to get a deal done.
They're just toying with us.
Donald Fair is whatever he's trying to gain for the NHLPA, he's going to come up miserably short. And I think the players would be better served to tell him to go take a hike and work out some kind of an arrangement with the owners because I know right now the owners want the players to play. The players want to play. You've got somebody in there mucking up the works, and it's just sad because I think at the end of the day, everybody loses. I was listening to somebody talking on the radio today, and last night was a night that the Winnipeg Jets were supposed to play the Pittsburgh Penguins here in a home game. And generally on a hockey night, there's an establishment called the Super Bowl down there. They usually have like 300 or 400 people in there on game nights. They usually say that they have to have about 15 employees working that night. Well, last night there was 2 people in the bar. There was 1 bartender and there was 1
Were you there?
No.
How did you get there?
No. So I mean, this whole thing with the players and the owners and what's right and what's fair. There's people whose livelihoods are being affected by these idiots not being able to find a way to divide up a $3.3 billion pie so that it can be equitable and everybody can be happy and make money. The people that actually really need the money are the ones that are being
Chip, we've talked about it. I brought that up before. Local bar owners and restaurants, we kid about Pittsburgh Sportsline going to level 20, but when you talk to them, I talked to Colin, the owner of it, and we had a discussion about the hockey. First of all, 2 or 3 nights a week they're playing hockey, so guys will come out to the bar then to enjoy that atmosphere for 2-3 hours. What else do you got going on? Now they don't. The ladies come out there too, so they don't have that. It isn't just level 20. It's through the whole area, not just around Consol Energy, but it's all of the bars around here. Look at all the specials they would have. Look at all the money that would be made. Now it's not.
What's against me is it's millionaires trying to fight with billionaires over how to break up a piece of pie. And let me tell you something. These guys with the B and the billionaires, they got that way for a reason. They're pretty smart cookies. And when you
here's how
when you've got a whole lot less zeros after your paycheck, there's a reason why.
Well, that's why you have a hired gun for the players. And you have a hired gun for the owners. When you have the gold, you rule. That's why they hired Bettman. Bettman did this. Did you notice how Bettman set the table for Fair to get goofy? He said, go ahead, I'll let the owners negotiate that. When does Bettman step out of any negotiating process? Think about it. So he's orchestrating. Why would he give up any power that he has? He's hired by them to do that. So are they going to get a deal? It doesn't look that way, just like you're saying. But you got to hear all this through the media because they're trying to cry. The owners and all that are crying what they're losing. That the economy's hurting all the people here.
Don't care what any of them are losing. You know what? We all want to just see the sport being played. I mean, end of the sentence. I mean, everybody loses out here, and they're damaging the industry, the hockey industry, more than they're doing in any help because, they never did have the big television contracts. Do you think that these major networks are going to want to invest billions of dollars in something where they don't know if every 3 or 4 years are we going to miss a half a season and we're going to have to deal with this again and again and again? And in corporate sponsorship, it's gonna pull up stakes and take its money somewhere where people are spending it.
Well, they've already spent it elsewhere. Look at the Pirates are going to get an extra $20 million per each team in Major League Baseball is going to get an extra $20 million because of sponsorship and advertising, and that's what hockey doesn't have the chance
because of stability. And the player, they've got an agreement in place with the players' union. There's going to be baseball; they can count on it. The NFL, they've got a 10-year agreement. Everybody knows that there's going to be, the NBA did it last year. Now everybody can sit back and enjoy the NBA. Hockey, it's just way too far up in the air, and it's just.
Well, I'm not going to be the Grinch for Christmas here. I'm going to hope they get a settlement this week coming up before Christmas. I'm hopeful they'll play a 42-game season, and then they can just play in division. Everybody will be happy again. That's my Christmas wish for the hockey. I don't care about Fair, Bettman, anybody else. Just get a deal done. We're tired of talking this nonsense with the B's and the M's and the out of luck.
So to do our weekly pick for football this week, okay? I'm going to go out on a limb.
I think I'm the only one that had San Diego last
Let me
week.
make this official.
Smoking Jim was the scum. Okay? Romo is going to do it again. He's going to shoot himself in the foot like he always does. That's going to be the deciding factor in the game. And this is going to be the game when the Steelers defense starts getting some turnovers.
I'm with Chip because I don't like Dallas. And I predicted 11-5. They can't do it. So I got to go 10-6. They win out. The Steelers win out. I'm the eternal optimist, and I don't care if Smoking Jim was right. He may be right about 8-8, but I'm not letting on that I think he could be right. Smoking Jim, Dallas. You got to say it out loud.
Steelers go 7-7. Dallas wins. Too many young practice squad players going out on that football field for the Steelers.
What's the score? Blowout.
Steelers got too much pride for a blowout. I think once it gets to be 34-10 again, Steelers will start playing against that pre-game
What's the
defense.
point spread there, gambler? No, go ahead, India. What's your prediction there? Go ahead. You could just
say
nobody will get mad at you but us.
I say the Steelers.
Yes.
Right. I'm a Steelers fan, so
I usually tell everybody that.
You're welcome back to the show.
I bleed black and gold.
I usually tell everybody that I have two favorite football teams, and that's the Steelers and whoever's playing the Cowboys this week. So this week I only got one favorite team, and that's the Steelers. My hatred for the Dallas Cowboys goes back to 1967. Yes, it's been a very long and healthy hatred, and it's going to continue forever.
We're going to have
Jerry Jones all the way.
We got to wind this down. India, thanks for coming to the show.
You're welcome.
Smoking Jim Frazier, it's always a pleasure. Chip the Prophet, angry against I Hate Dallas, Hayner, and that's with an O-R at the end of his name, folks. Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Thank you to Devin Shea, Aaron Ward, and we got Joe. I don't know your last name, but thank you.
Joe.
He's on the camera here. The guy's a black belt. I'm afraid to go out the door right now, but we're about ready to end the show. Come to Pittsburgh Sports Line at level 20, 7:30. Meet West Lions.